is. Let's see what we've got. Oh, I gotta turn it on. It is. Yep, it's going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA. We're going to be talking about printing today. Of course, mail gets stuck in there somehow. But anyway, before we do, let's have some fun. And let's get over to this EasyJet new campaign where the art tour is about the art touring Europe, not not touring Europe to see the art. I think it's pretty good. So here it comes. There's the Mona Lisa. She's flying to Athens. There's Michelangelo's David. There's the Thinker. Get the artist, what else? There's Vermeer's girl with the pearl earring. Cherubs, but I don't know remember who. There goes the girl again. Oh no, she took the hat off. I can't do that. Anyway, so I think that was pretty good. So, especially in a 30-second spot. My oh my. So let's read about it, as they say, right? Let's read about the campaign. And here we go. The girl with the pearl earrings hits the beach with an EasyJet campaign. The new ad takes famous paintings and sculptures on a tour of Europe. So the art tours Europe instead of the tourists touring the art. I think that's so funny. This shot isn't actually in the video, I don't think. Anyway, so Vermeer's girl with the pearl earring. The agency is VCCP London. They're flipping the script, imagining iconic paintings and sculptures coming to life, taking their own vacations. So this is the Mona Lisa by Michelangelo. No, by Leonardo da Vinci. Sorry. So the campaign kicked off with a 30-second spot, Get Out There, directed by Patrick Daughters, and Rodin, that's it, the Thinker. Michelangelo's David, obviously some iconic stuff. So Anna Marquez and Tomas Azabel Lima told Adweek, and I like their comments. We chose characters that live in Europe so we could show them in unexpected locations. And always in destinations EasyJet flies to and from. Okay, we wanted to bring to life the benefits of travel in a way that felt distinctive for EasyJet, so we thought we could enlist the help of famous characters who've been stuck in the same place for ages. They've seen millions of tourists. Now it's their turn to tour Europe. I thought that was really, really good. In some ways, this may be better. The brief may be better than the ad, because it goes by pretty fast. With this campaign, we have redefined the role of advertising at EasyJet and taken it back to fundamental marketing principles, which is maybe, getting attention, salience. EasyJet does get mentioned a few times, although I would like to see it more, of course. And, the problem is they're in their destinations. Well, they're coming off the airplanes or getting on the airplanes. I guess it isn't too bad. I should watch it again. But anyway, they said that distinctiveness is a challenge because, you show the destinations and you try to get people to imagine going there, but it's hard to get emotional. So they thought that they got more emotion and got more memorable than we've ever been before. And that may be true. So that was I just thought it was fun. It was a lot of fun. The show notes will be down at wdma.org. How do you think that AI will affect the printing industry? This is from Matthew Parker, and he put up this survey, and 6% said not at all, 16% said minimally, so about a quarter said really not much. 43% said more in design and artwork, and then 35%. So is this 2/3? Let's see. 43, and that's about 66%. Yeah, I guess it is. Okay, we'll have a major effect. Why the printing industry isn't ready for artificial intelligence. Okay, they got 143 votes, which is pretty good. I've never gotten that many votes on my surveys. Nearly a quarter of the respondents said that it would have no or little effect, and 40% thought the effects would be seen in design and artwork. So 2/3 didn't think it would really affect the printing per se. But AI is already affecting many printing companies unknown to them. So the first question is, do you use imposition software, that helps you position the print on the page or on the plate? Helps you set images in when you have dynamic printing runs, right? I mean, we've been using address checking for decades. It's not really AI. That's the trouble with this. Is a program that works well, is that AI? Well, actually, AI was coined well before machine learning, and it kind of encompasses anything that computers can do that can replace a human being. So much of the content that will be supplied to you for printing will soon be generated by AI. And there are interesting copyright issues. So if you print something that's plagiarized from other copyrighted material, is the printer liable? Don't know. Good question. Something you should think about. I may do a copyright story tomorrow related to AI, and I think I probably will now that I've connected it with this. So few people seem to be thinking about that at the moment. The reality is that AI is set to have major impact on the industry, and you probably won't see it coming. I saw a funny post by oh my goodness, about trying to portray a turkey. It was on LinkedIn, and just asking AI to illustrate a turkey, and she found that. Let's try looking in my notifications and see if I can find it. She found that oops, I got to hit enter on this machine here. Oh, no wonder she didn't write back. I didn't hit enter. That oh, what a mess here. Let's see. Yeah, I guess it was in my feed, and you can never find anything after the feed. She was trying to portray a turkey, and it turned out that she had to specify 2 legs because, where does it look? It looks on the internet and finds pictures of, or even recipes for how to make a turkey look like it's, when you bake it, look like it's got multiple drumsticks. People like drumsticks, right? Turkey can be fairly dry, and so anyway, it didn't work out, and I'm gonna keep looking for it while I go here. So it's not quite there yet in a lot of ways, even for creative, and the industry on the copyrighted article is trying to come up with watermarks to indicate that AI was used to write a document or an article. I think that's a pretty good idea. Yeah, LinkedIn isn't working worth a darn. Anyway, let's go on. Quad's rebrand from legacy printer to marketing maker. Okay, and this is by Chris Ahrens in Adweek. At 2 million square feet, a former canning factory in Lamira, Wisconsin is the largest printing plant in the world. This was from 1985. I remember when that plant opened. Gloria Steinem was asked how she felt about her magazine being printed alongside Playboy, and she replied, "I think it's only fitting that the same presses that print the poison also print the antidote." She was a creative thinker, I got to give her that. And there's some truth to it, I suppose, maybe. I don't think it worked out the way she would have expected. So what happened next? It was better to become the consolidator, or the consolidating is going to be done to us. And so I met Harry. In order to meet Harry, I dressed up my my Honda scooter, 50cc scooter, and I drove it a few miles over to the Stone Bank 4th of July parade, because I knew that Harry always rode his Harley with the sidecar in the parade. And I got there before the parade started, and I rolled up next to Harry, and I said, I really think I could help you guys with data, and I'm actually capable of increasing circulation with data, unlike almost all the other modelers. And he said, give me a call, and I'll have my assistant looking for you. And so we ended up doing some work with Quad. Independent of that, I think that was after we'd already done a project to try to teach Quad clients about, I don't know, there was a couple of projects we did. But anyway, Harry ended up drowning on his morning swim, and so it all kind of evaporated. Harry was really interested in partnerships and all kinds of, he was a very open guy. And I've written to Joel a number of times. I've reached out to Joel a number of times. I've gotten referred to people that basically said, we know how to do all of this stuff. I don't think it's true. Our mutual clients, we've had maybe a dozen mutual clients where I either doubled the circulation of people, from $500,000 a month to $1 million a month, or I helped them not cut their circulation in recessions. But anyway, Joel's team knows everything, and that's kind of the reputation they have around the industry. And Joel said, I did everything my father told me not to do, which was going public, buying broken down printing companies, and here's how the stock's gone since Joel took over and went public. It started out at 46, and it's been hovering around $5 for a while now. This is 2017. It was up at about 20, about half the value, and now it's about a quarter of the value or less. It's almost 10% of the value. Now it's a little more than that, but not 20% of the value. So I don't think from a shareholder standpoint it's been doing great. I wondered what you guys thought about it out there in the print world. I did get a tour of Colony's catalog production facility, and about half of it is a warehouse dedicated to like individual items that are going to be in their suite of catalogs, which was cool. I mean, it wasn't the fulfillment warehouse, it was just a warehouse and a system for keeping track of all the new items coming in that need to be photographed and documented, and the old items, probably going out to a thrift shop or something. Because when you photograph items, a lot of times you have to spray them up to reduce the shine on one corner or something like that, and so they're not really brand new when you finish shooting with them. But anyway, I was really impressed. It was Colony had gotten, I think, an old grocery store down in Monroe, or Monroe as some of the natives call it, and Russ gave me a tour of it, and it was a number of years ago. But they had brought in Quad. I think Quad was already working with LL Bean at the time. In the article, they talk about working with Cabela's. I thought that made an enormous amount of sense. Because one of the things we would do is we would take the items to a photographer, and there were huge, you talk about consolidators, there were huge in the heyday in 1985 photography studios that would do the creative process for catalogs. I remember going down to Chicago and touring one. I don't remember the name of it, but it was like a city block, not too far from our Donnelly's Lakeside plant. And it was funny. The president of the creative company said, and they had whole rooms that looked like a bedroom, and like maybe an early American bedroom or a colonial bedroom or an ultra modern bedroom. And they would do, they would set up and they had beds set up, and they would do the sheets and the bedspreads and the throw pillows and the settee or whatever. And they said, at the time they were doing Spiegel, and they were also doing like J.C. Penney, I think. And that's when I learned that J.C. Penney never came on photo shoots. They had a manual, and he showed me the manual, and they would say, business career woman, or homemaker woman, or teacher, or they would give these personas, and they would describe the personas and how their hair should be done and how their makeup should be done and how the lighting should be done, and they did all that, and then they would just say, well, for this item use this persona, and for this item use that persona. It was all very, very well thought out. So we stopped sending our creative team on the photo shoots where they sat around smoking cigarettes and eating snacks all day. Yeah, it wasn't very productive. But anyway, they said, Pennies would come to them and say, we want our shots to look more like Spiegel. Those are so arty, and ours are so kind of static looking, plain. And so they would do a couple of shots like Spiegel, and the Pennies, creative team would say, well, yeah, we like this, but, the pillows are kind of all cockeyed. Could you straighten the pillows? And the bed, it's all got wrinkles. It's all wrinkly. Could you straighten the bed out a little bit? And these curtains don't seem to match very well with the thing, And of course, those were all specs that Spiegel used because they wanted to look artistic, so it didn't look all symmetrical and all perfectly coordinated and that sort of thing. And he said, it's so funny how working with these big catalog houses, how different it came out. But one of the challenges in that process was, how do you make the item, which you see in a certain color with certain lighting, how do you make that item work on a printing press? And in those days, we used to try to mess with stuff, where, as a catalog goes through, you might be printing 48 pages at a time, right? And so you say, and this was on offset presses, you say, well, could you bring the red up a little on this particular page? It might be upside down, it might be sideways, so the red, if you brought the red up on a couple of jets, it would put like a red streak across all 48 pages, or 8 of the pages. And, some of the people would look like they had just, been out in the sun too long and stuff, and it would screw other pages up. And after a while, you realized you just couldn't do it. And so we just, we gave up on sending them to the press okays also. But it always made sense to me that, or one of the challenges was that what you saw in the real world and what the photographer took based on lighting, etc., and what the printing press printed, with dot gain and with different kinds of papers and all this different stuff. It was like, well, it's too bad we can't control this better, but you couldn't. It was better once it got all digital. I mean, we would even play with the separations, because they could do proofs with the separations, and you could heighten the red or the green or the blue. Well, that's in digital. In print, it's red, yellow, blue. That's one of the reasons it's different. Is light, the 3 primary colors are red, green, blue, right? RGB. But in ink, it's red, yellow, blue, or red, yellow, cyan, or red or cyan, magenta, and whatever. Anyway, so it doesn't make any sense. It's very, very difficult. It was always difficult. We didn't care that much because I was mostly doing the creative in business to business. But it always made sense to me that you could get the photographer and the printer on the same page. So anyway, they say that they sit now in 90 marketing departments around the world, Albertsons, Safeways, grocery stores. In the case of Cabela's, we save them probably 30% of their cost when we set up internally, and 40% of the time. Here are their logo changes. 2019, they went to this. They got rid of the graphics in 2019. Now it's just this, and I think it's really ugly and dull. And I couldn't believe it. I was not sure when I tagged them whether this was even quad graphics at all, whether it was quad. It looked like another company, and there are many companies that use the name quad. So anyway, Josh Golden is the new CMO, and he's trying to figure out the story that makes us special. And it's hard to say. Is it a printer that's lost its way and decided to go digital, or is it a creative company that's good at all the pieces and pulling them together? It's hard to say. It's hard for me to say. Um, it's very, very, very hard to say. I know that they've got some partnerships going. Um, I'm not allowed to say with whom. Uh, but anyway, never waste an uncomfortable economic environment, because that's when our clients need the help the most. And I've seen that in my career. That's from Joel. Marketers I talk to say, okay, my budget's being cut, but I have to be more effective. And that plays right into both sides of our offering, he says. Anyway, I think it makes sense. This was interesting. Quadracci, whose family maintains 80% of voting control of the publicly traded company, even though the family stake is now around 30%. So they got 30% of the stock, but they've got 80% of the board, it sounds like. So anyway, they've certainly kept control. It hasn't really hurt them too much, except in the price of their stock. And when people come to hear the story, Julie Curry says, from Nielsen, says, they say, well, why haven't we heard about these things? So anyway, the catalog, in-store, and direct mail businesses continue to chug on, but I don't know if they're a priority. I'm not sure they've been a priority for the last few decades. Anyway, Quadracci says it's maker culture, it's hard stuff, it's taking hard stuff and making it simple. So I'm really curious about what you think. Many of my WDMA supporters are printers, and I welcome your thoughts. Have a great day. Like and share. Go over for the story. Excellent story in Adweek. Maybe the stock will go up.